I want to talk to you today about source bias here on Daily Persuasion. It's in the context of the Israel versus Iran conflict. Of course, it's better to think about the Iranian regime as an occupier of the Persian people, the Persian state. As of this recording, we're seeing that interview clip of Senator Ted Cruz being interviewed by Tucker Carlson going viral over Senator Cruz not knowing the population, not knowing the ethnic and religious makeup, and Tucker criticizing him for saying, basically, dude, you want to go to war with and risk the death of a significant number of people you know absolutely nothing about. And of course, we, the people, did not vote for more regime change shenanigans. But source bias is what I want to talk about because there seem to be three camps or three clearly divided, let's say, separations within, let's say, the greater Trump world, the greater MAGA sphere. Okay. And they seem to be specific with regard to their prior identity. So oftentimes people's opinions reflect their identity. This is once again a refutation of blank slate theory. So what we're seeing right now is people who are, let's say, they're Jewish ethnically or religiously, or they're super fans of the Jewish people. So like evangelical Christians who believe that the modern state of Israel is literally God's chosen people. According to their eschatology, they believe that a new temple is going to be built. The Dome of the Rock is going to be wiped out. And when a new temple is built, Jesus is going to come back and there's going to be rapture. Y'all going to get raptured. Okay, now I'm saying this because this evangelical Christian eschatology, of course, is hyper popular in the American South, Midwest, Southeast, so on and so forth. I grew up in that particular community. I believe that I would not, in fact, be growing up because the rapture was going to happen any day now, probably at Y2K. That was the day. December 31st, 1989 comes and goes, as does January 1st, 2000, and nothing ever happened. Okay, so that's one cluster of people. You might be familiar with the Jews for Jesus organization. You might be familiar with Messianic Jews. You might be familiar with the sort of people who have the USA flag next to the State of Israel flag. Those are, I like to call them Rapture Americans with a little dash. Those were the people who set the ideology for Bush 1 and Bush 2 and the various misadventures in Iraq and Afghanistan. There's this idea that we need to get involved over there to make Jesus come back. And of course, Israel benefits from that significantly for obvious reasons. And the Jewish people, lowercase p, Jewish people everywhere, benefit from that. So you see this cluster of evangelical Christians and ethnic and religious Jews who are all together on one side, basically saying, this is different this time. This is a potential catastrophe. Iran can have a nuclear weapon. If they attack Israel, they're going to attack us. They're our greatest ally. For today, Tel Aviv, tomorrow, New York City. This is what they're saying, right? And there's this cluster. And they're, of course, calling everyone who's not part of their cluster, you're not a real Trump voter. You are an isolationist. You are anti-Semite. They're using all of the labels to shame everyone who disagrees with their position that we, the United States of America, need to get militarily involved. Okay, now you understand why you're hearing that particular opinion. It's because of the ideological, racial, religious, etc., spiritual prior commitments that this group has that then go into their political take. Okay, next is, I will call them the Jew neutral people. No antagonism towards them. They are what they are. I can see the case for Israel as a state to exist. We have a positive, beneficial trading relationship. I put myself in this category, by the way, where I'm not necessarily, everyone's biased, of course, but in terms of like, we need the rapture to happen so Jesus can come back and wipe out his enemies. Therefore, support Israel. I'm not part of that camp at all. I'm a nationalist and a populist, particularly for the nation which I am a member of, and a populist for the people of which I am a person of. Okay, Ohioan, America, American. Okay, and I would put people like Jack Posobiec in this category as well, where, okay, yes, Israel is best thought of as a vassal state of the United States, a sort of a colony or territory by another name. And there is a unique relationship between Israel and the United States. The fact that Israel has within its territories the Holy Land for Christianity means I am personally not someone who wants to cause there to be destruction of those areas. Those are areas that I want to be protected. In my opinion, superior alternative would be the Kingdom of Jerusalem, a revival of that, let's say, city-state. We have Vatican City. Why can't we have the Kingdom of Jerusalem? Constantinople. Return. All right. So, but first and foremost, we think, wait a second, is this really our fight with Iran? Okay, like there's a relationship between the United States and Israel. Does that then mean we need to pull a Ukraine and do that to Iran? I don't think so. I'm not hearing from my corner a whole lot of reasoning for this. I understand the nuclear weapon situation and that it is ill-advised that Iran have more power, particularly the occupying regime of Iran, that they have more power than they need. And of course, the enriched uranium situation, Iran needing, again, their government that occupies the Persian people and Persian land. It's the same situation with North Korea, I think very similar, where you have a tyrannical regime wanting security for themselves. And Kim Jong-un, little rocket man, Iran. I don't think we need to lie about it, though. I don't think we need to pretend. I don't think we need to WMD hoax the situation. We've got Donald Trump saying they can't have nuclear weapons. And then we have his director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, saying they're not even close to that, as far as I know. I think probably the most sensible voice on this, from this source bias, I have a source bias. In my opinion, the best, let's say, spokesperson for this area is going to be Vice President J.D. Vance, because he is a nationalist, he is a populist. He also understands the players. He understands the board, and he's right next to the commander-in-chief and is not going to publicly, openly disagree with him, okay? He can add nuance, he can add narrative, he can add spin. So if I were looking for who is the best spokesperson for this viewpoint, I would say Vice President J.D. Vance. I ought to have mentioned the previous one of the ethnic Jew, religious Christian, Rapture American category. Who are the best spokespeople for that? I would say probably Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, living the dream, the former governor. He, probably Glenn Beck as well would be in that category. And if you follow Adam Townsend on Twitter, I think he would be in that group as well. I think they make the strongest case for that perspective. Okay. And then I'm in this different category over here. I think, how is this going to save Springfield, Ohio from their situation? Okay. Is this setting up a Haitian deportation station? That's the priority. We had 20 million illegals come in. We haven't gotten even 2 million of them out, as far as I know. From my perspective, that is the priority, is the economic recovery, the national sovereignty, being a nation of laws that actually enforces them. That's the priority. And then the third category of source bias is, I wouldn't necessarily call them anti-Jews. I might simply more so state non-Zionists or anti-Zionists. They might call themselves anti-Zionists. I want to be respectful. So this, of course, is the entire Muslim world in the global South who is active on social media, and many of them are using AI to write their posts. Resistance to Israel is not just about the sovereignty of Palestine, but it's also about making the case for, okay, we're done here. So you see a lot of AI, generation of content being made in English for the global South who's, oh, those are the Jews? Okay, we're against them. Just directly. You see a lot of anti-Israel propaganda coming out from that space. I have a hard time believing and seeing, because it's Reuters says this happened in Gaza. The Associated Press says this happened in the West Bank. Yeah, but what was the source of that? Was it the Palestinian Authority? Was it Hamas? I just have a hard time with this. But also in this group would be like Nick Fuentes and the Grapers. Those are sort of your very, very ultra traditional Catholics who would look at someone like Roman Catholic convert J.D. Vance and say he's not a real Catholic. Okay, there's a whole storyline about that if you want to go digging. But there's that corner as well. And as far as I can tell, this is the most direct and straightforward description of the three camps here. This camp makes a fantastic humanitarian case for the Palestinian people, by the way, this third camp over here that I mentioned. So just because there are a lot of grapers and, let's say, AI using global South individuals over here that are probably showing a lot of, frankly, truly anti-Semitic content that offends the sensibilities of this group over here, that doesn't mean that they're entirely wrong. We live in a strange reality, okay? But the fact is, these are not the only two groups. There's the third one over here. This is the one that I am in. Okay, you guys make a good humanitarian case for the suffering of the Palestinian people. And also, we understand the historical context of the Jewish people, the relationship of Israel and the Holy Land. Okay, but also, like, America first means America first, people. Okay, come on. I'm thinking about Springfield, Ohio. I'm not really thinking about Tel Aviv or Tehran. Springfield. I want to see Haitian deportation stations. Take our country back. That's my source bias. That's Daily Persuasion.